welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. You know, I could just make a recording of this line. Always use a professional. People just don't get it sometimes, and they think just because I have a computer, I'm an expert. Well, you're not, okay? And if you want to save yourself aggravation, you're going to want to use a professional. One of the things that most people really don't get is insurance. With me is Mark Oduno.
Correct.
Did I get it right?
Correct. Yeah, Oduno.
I try to get it out fast so I don't screw it up. And you're with Tequesta Insurance.
You are correct.
But before we go any further, I just want you guys to know, just because it has the name Tequesta in it, doesn't mean that he's only focused on Tequesta. He can write policies anywhere in this state and a bunch of other states, and we're going to get into that moving forward. But I just wanted you to know, we're talking with Mark from Tequesta Insurance, but they can write anywhere. Almost anywhere, I would think.
Close, pretty close.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Okay, so how long are you doing this?
So I've been doing insurance for about the past 6-7 years.
Okay.
I started here in Indiana. I was in finance and banking, and then decided to take my talents elsewhere and fell in love with the servitude that came with insurance and actually genuinely being able to help out the community. So when I was doing that, I decided to go ahead and look into a different avenue, and I fell into insurance, and I've been doing it and loving it ever since.
Okay. Insurance is what I call a gambling game.
Agreed.
Okay? And this is one of those games where you hope you lose. Okay? Especially when it comes to life insurance. But I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of insurance.
Correct.
And I can give you guys have been with me a long time, know that when I was much younger, I didn't have insurance, health insurance,
Right.
or medical insurance, and I lost a child, had a premature baby, and my wife had kidney failure the same year.
Sorry to hear
I had
that.
$1.6 million in medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how important having insurance can be.
Correct.
And it's not really, it's a gambling game you want to lose, but it's not a gambling game for something that you need.
Right.
Okay? Why did you get, I mean, I mean, I know why you got into it, but it's like one of those things, to me,
Right.
is like one of those offshoot things that people think, all right, what am I going to do in my life? Insurance.
Yeah.
Okay? A lot of people, when I ask them what they do, they tell me, if they're a chiropractor, they say, well, a family member had a problem, or
Right.
this, or that, the other thing. So is there something that, I mean, I know that you want to serve the community, and
Of
I know you
course.
had the talents to do this,
Of course.
but was there one specific thing that brought you to this?
So it was always, I remember when my parents would always stress out about bills or whatever the case may be. Moving around, being a part of the military was something that we really didn't get a choice in doing. So whenever my parents had to go and we had to move from, whether it be Chicago in Great Lakes or North Carolina in Camp Lejeune or anywhere in between, insurance was always something that I remember my dad and my mom complaining about. Well, the price over here was different from the price over there, and so on and so forth, and the cars getting older, and just the simple things like that. And then as I got older, I started to talk to a lot of people, and the biggest thing that people always worry about are bills. One of the biggest bills that you have behind your mortgage or your car payment is typically your insurance, and the reason being is because there's so many different types of insurance. I mean, there's pet insurance, life insurance, health insurance, auto, your home in your condo, renters, whatever the case.
Which ones do you do?
Pretty much all of them.
Okay.
So we do the multi-million-dollar businesses. We do the mom and pop shops and everything in between, and we want to make sure that
They do the pet insurance.
Yep, and we want
I had
to make
bring
sure
that up because people think, yeah, I can't get pet insurance, but it's there.
it's there. It's a thing. It's a real thing. So the reason I wanted to make sure I got into it was because I remember no one was there helping that 18-year-old kid out when he didn't know what to do, and no one was educating me on how to get insurance, and I couldn't go to my parents because that wasn't the right avenue. Like you said, go to a professional. And I called an insurance company. I got whatever they gave me, and then I was just like, this doesn't seem right. And obviously with my backing and financing, I was like, I want to do something different, and I knew that I could have a real impact, not only helping people but also educating them and letting them know why to do what they do, why to get the protection, what it protects, and what's important about it.
So I'm going to guess that there's not one size fits all when it comes to insurance.
Correct.
So how do we determine what someone should get? Do we determine by what they own, what their income is, what their health is? I mean, how do we determine that?
It's an excellent question. One of the biggest things, it's going to be a personal preference. As much as I don't like to use that, it's definitely a personal preference. Someone who comes in and says, hey, look, I have I don't know if they have let's say they drive a Range Rover or drive a nice higher end vehicle, whatever the case may be.
Not me.
You,
Okay, go ahead.
you wanna see, okay, well, God forbid something were to happen, what are you looking at trying to do? Because some people, I mean, the biggest thing nowadays is claims. That's the biggest thing plaguing the industry right now is just claims. So the one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure it's like, okay, well, do I just want to pay out of pocket? Do I want to use the insurance? If I use the insurance, is the price going to go up on me? And you start to battle this internal fight that you're going through, and it's just like it's really not that much of a difference. You don't want to have to pay for using insurance, or let me rephrase that. You don't want to have to pay for insurance that you're never going to use. If you have to pay for it, use it. That's what it's there for. It's there to make sure that you don't have to come out of pocket for all these certain type of things. But I mean, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we just help out as many as we can and make sure that they understand what's going on, figure out where their niche is, what their occupation is, where they feel comfortable with protection, and where they honestly live. I live in an area where there's not that many nice cars. So if I were to get into an accident, the odds of me hitting a brand new Mercedes is a lot lower than, for example, if I hit a brand new Honda. But obviously the price is so much different. So.
I understand that, and I know that people are very confused when it comes to insurance.
Agreed.
And I know that you can go online and look stuff up, but you're never going to find that key that's going to open the correct door, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I always believe that when push comes to shove, the professional is always going to give you that. And I always believe that if you go online and do your insurance and then something happens, Mary took it when you did it, Sam followed up, Fred then got it, and Charles got it, and Alice got it. It's you don't know who you spoke to.
You are exactly correct.
So if he wrote your insurance and there was a problem, you can always go yell at him. And that's always cool to be able to see somebody and talk face to face and know who you're speaking to and know who you to go back to.
Yeah.
There are so many different kind of insurances.
100%.
Surely too many to get into in a short segment like this. But I have to ask you this one only because I'm a pet lover.
Mm-hmm.
So is pet insurance expensive? You go to a vet and you're spending $600.
Of course.
Okay. So how is pet insurance arranged? Is it arranged by the age of the pet, the type of the pet?
Well, typically, I mean, just for pet insurance, for example, I mean, in a generality, insurance can be as inexpensive as you want it to be.
Okay.
So, for example, if we're talking about a home, just because the home is worth $2-3 million, you can get a cheap policy. It's just not covering much. So, in a sense, you can always make sure that your insurance is always going to be inexpensive. It's just what you're willing to open yourself up for a liability.
I guess deductibles are one of those issues.
Exactly. It's one of the biggest things that impact the insurance, which a lot of people don't know about. But in regards to pet insurance, one thing that they do is that they certain dogs obviously are known for predispositions for certain type of things, so on and so forth. And then with those, they take that into it's basically like getting a health checkup for a human. It's the same thing as doing it for a dog. So.
Interesting, because I've had dogs and now I have 2 cats, and I dread, God forbid something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Because you got to take him to the vet, and it's a month's salary.
Yeah.
Okay, going to the vet. I had a golden retriever that I adopted. He was 1.5. He passed away at almost 19. Never went to the vet once. Never. And I was blessed. And probably the reason I was able to eat. Okay. The other thing, on the other side of the coin, going into homeowners insurance, there are so many pieces. Like you would say, hey, I'm just going to get homeowner insurance. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, correct.
Because the roof now is a major issue if you're in Florida.
Huge.
Okay.
Huge.
And it can only be a certain amount of years old.
Correct.
And it's got to be clipped down with. They are like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
you
lot.
got to gorilla glue your roof down with all these clips and all this other
It's
stuff.
definitely a lot.
Because they don't want to pay. Let's face the facts. The
100%.
The insurance company doesn't want to pay. Okay. I don't blame them. They're in business.
Right.
We are afraid to make claims sometimes.
Right.
Okay. And the cool thing about using a professional that you've spoken to or met is you at least can, karma has always prevailed. You can always figure something out
100%.
when you're dealing with a professional who knows the industry. I say it the same here. Everybody has a cell phone. They think
Right.
they're a videographer and a photographer. Go figure.
Social media.
Okay, right. And I'm okay with that. But if you want to be professional, use a professional. We
Right.
do professional headshots, okay? We do events. We do interviews like this. This was the bread and butter of my business initially.
Right.
I think that when people come in here, of course, we sell the sizzle, so it looks amazing.
Of course.
But we know what we're talking about.
Right.
Okay, so when someone is using their cell phone and taking a picture like this and like this, they don't realize that if you turn the camera sideways, you're getting a full view instead of just
Of
the
course.
black lines on both sides. That's why, like someone like Mark is going to give you the direction that you need. Question:
Go for it.
I call you up and I say, "Hey, I bought a car. You do car insurance,
100%.
okay?" And I'm trying to hit all the points, but I can't because there's so many of them.
No, you're good. You're good.
What do you need from me to put a policy together?
And to be honest with you, it's honestly not that much information. It's general information that can be found on your driver's license, and then just a couple questions. I mean, if you drove the car over to me, and had your driver's license on you, you'd be perfectly fine. I would be able to pull everything that I needed off of there. And then, God forbid, there was one or two things that maybe we forgot to talk about or something else, then I would just email you, call you, text you, however what you felt necessary, and we'd go from there. So
The interesting thing is, I guess we can go from there, but then there's a bunch of decisions that I have to make.
correct.
Okay, saying how much liability do I want? You know,
Exactly.
everybody. And I'm not going to go into this because I talk about this with PIP attorneys.
Go
I
for
mean,
it.
with PI attorneys.
Yeah.
Which is personal injury attorneys. People think you have to have insurance, obviously.
Correct.
But people don't realize there's a thing called uninsured motorist.
Correct.
Okay. That's probably one of the most important things to ever get, especially here in Florida.
Agreed.
And there's a thing called stacking.
Yep.
Okay. And people don't understand those things.
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons that you don't go online and that you call someone like Mark who can go over those issues with you so that you understand clearly exactly what you're getting into.
Correct.
We're getting to the top of our time. How do people reach you? You have a phone number?
Yeah, we have a phone number. We have our website. We have our phone number. We also have.
What's the website?
The website's tequesta-insurance.com.
And just because it says Tequesta
Yeah.
doesn't mean you just have to be in Tequesta.
Correct. You
Okay.
can be anywhere.
Okay.
Me personally, I still hold some licenses in other states, which allow me to go ahead and help out other people in different communities. Me being from the Midwest, Indiana specifically, I still hold my licenses there, and I still get a lot of business from there. There's a lot of snowbirds that
Right.
come all over the north that want to come down to Florida, Georgia, those kind of places to make sure that they're warm during the winter. But to your point earlier, it's an educational piece, and that's where I fell in love with insurance, is because it's easy enough to go online, just as you said, click a couple buttons, find a price you like, and you're like, great. But that's not when insurance ever has.
Well, God forbid you have to use it. You're in
Right,
big trouble.
and then that's where insurance gets a bad name. I understood you're very young that getting into this kind of business, it was going to be an area of which we get looked down on. It's the sales, we're snakes, it's conniving. At the end of the day, it's a requirement of the state to have it. Just find someone that you can trust so that you can make it the best that it can be. So whenever if you were to come and meet me or talk to me, all I would do is say, hey, my name is Mark. This is what I am able to do for you. What are you looking at trying to accomplish? And it's a directional conversation that lets you get to me and me understand where you're coming from. If it's pricing that you're worried about, I'll put together a couple different packages for you, whether it's home, auto, commercial, business.
I have
whatever
one
the
that I
case
have to
may
ask
be.
you.
Yeah, go
Right,
for
because
it.
we've run out of time, but I have to ask you tonight.
Yeah.
I live in Canada. I want to come to the States for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
There is insurance that you can get for 2 months, medical insurance that you can get for 2 months.
Okay.
Do you have that, or can you produce that?
I'm sure we could figure out a way to get around it. I mean, we can definitely make sure we have. I mean, with the carriers and partners that we have, the benefits of us being an independent agency is that we basically get the teamwork of a huge company while being able to focus on our communities and making sure that our customers are taken care of and put first. And with having over almost 200 different contracts with different insurance companies, I'm sure we could definitely figure something out to make sure you guys are protected.
We got it. Here's the thing. We tell you, use a professional, and I say it a million times over and over again, and I have my reasons for saying it because I like the rest of you, thought I'd take the easy way out, and it cost me more aggravation, time, and money. Mark is here to help you, Tequesta Insurance. Mark, I want to thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you having me.
Everybody have a great day. Use a professional. We'll be right back.